What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, ever since Christian Bale, the Batman himself, was cast in Thor: Love and Thunder, there was a ton of conjecture about who he could possibly be playing in the MCU. Thankfully, Marvel Studios, during last December's Investors Day call meeting, went ahead and announced some of the villains for their upcoming projects. Jonathan Majors is Kang the Conqueror, and of course, Christian Bale is none other than Gorr the God Butcher. And while this lesser-known villain from later in the comics packs a huge punch, we still hadn't seen what he'd look like on set or how the MCU was going to choose to do this villain represented on the big screen. Well, finally, we have our very first look, a ton of photos leaking out from on set. We've got them all for you. We're going to break them down. Our very first look at Christian Bale on set as the villain, Gorr the God Butcher, in the upcoming Thor: Love and Thunder. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button, we're still giving away some PlayStation 5s, Disney Plus subscriptions every week while the shows are live, and announcing brand new MCU related giveaways next week when What If goes live. If you want to be entered to win, all you have to do, hit the subscribe button, then leave a comment down below, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So the normal spoiler warning, these are actual photos from on set of Thor: Love and Thunder. So if you don't want to see this, if this is in any way going to ruin that film, the future of Marvel Phase 4, only you know if you're susceptible to this kind of thing, which raises the question as to why you clicked on the video. Either way, I'm not mad at you, but you might want to back out now. 3, 2, 1, you've been warned. All right, let's dive into these photos. Okay, so we've got 4 photos for you. They progressively reveal more and more of the villain until we can see him in full standing on set. The reason I wanted to include this photo is we had heard about these lightweight black cloths that they used to cover their surprise cameo characters. They were able to do this successfully on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier with Julia Louis-Dreyfus's Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. It's just funny to me, though, as they run from set to set, location to location, they don't always put it all the way on. As you can clearly see here, you start to see more of his garb and his skin. It looks like they're going for a completely whited out look. I will admit, does look a tad like the White Vision, but once you put some CGI on top of this, which we're going to get to in just a second, I want to make mention about other parts of the costume, you can start to see how this is going to resemble a more comic book look for the Gorr the God Butcher character, which we're going to talk about in just a second, who this character is and how he plays into the plot. We have another look here from the side. You can see that his robes are over the top, his skin also completely white, either from body paint and or some sort of powder covering, definitely looking like White Vision. But as you can clearly see here from a better look of him on set, that this seems to be all makeup, prosthetics, and costuming. There doesn't seem to be a lot in the way of any CGI dots, which means to me that where they normally would CGI a character like this, case in point, someone like Thanos, the Black Order, Hulk, where they go ahead and always CGI the character, you would see something in the way of motion capture dots so that they could CGI over the face where they needed to. In this costuming, unless I'm wrong, I am not seeing any CGI dots anywhere on his face, which makes me think that they may go for a more traditional Hollywood look with prosthetics and makeup instead of the overall CGI look of a lot of the MCU characters, especially like what we saw in Infinity War, which can really work well depending on the performance of the character, the cast, how the movie's set. I have all the faith in Taika Waititi. His Thor Ragnarok is one of my favorite MCU films, top 3, 100%. So I like this decision. However, when I think about Gorr the God Butcher, he actually reminds me a lot of a character we've already seen in the MCU. Just from physical appearance alone, minus those Jedi tendrils coming out of the sides, he looks almost exactly like the portrayal of Ebony Maw we already saw in the MCU, which is why they may have chosen to go with a different look for this Gorr the God Butcher and keep his nose intact. Again, I may be completely wrong. There may be CGI in his face. He may look closer to his comic book accurate portrayal. However, I don't see any in that photo, and this is our first look at Christian Bale. You'd assume if they were going to do some sort of CGI on the face, again, you'd see that motion capture overlay, the mocap with all the dots. You've seen this in a million places. And there's none of that present. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this villain, as he was, I would say, a later addition in the comics, some of the diehard fans won't even know who he is. So if you're a lay fan, you definitely probably don't know who Gorr the God Butcher is. However, before it was an official announcement, he was on a short list of characters here at the channel and rather in the community at large. We all thought Christian Bale could be playing because of how perfectly he fits into the MCU narrative right now in the current landscape. First of all, he's responsible for setting up and leading to the direct defeat of Galactus, but that's much later on, especially in the MCU, so let's not go getting ahead of ourselves. However, he's even more responsible for setting up someone in the earliest parts of the Marvel Universe. That's the god Null, who is responsible for the symbiote in the entire Marvel Universe. That's right, this is the symbiote god. We've seen some of this imagery come into play already with the current Venom 2 Let There Be Carnage, and of course, those don't directly tie to each other, at least not yet, but the timing couldn't be more perfect, as Null is who's responsible again for the symbiote in the Marvel Universe, and that ends up binding with Gorr the God Butcher, granting him the all-black Necro Sword, something we've sort of already seen with Hela's powers manifest already in the MCU. Could there be a connection there? That's why it's not a surprise again. He's showing up in Thor Love and Thunder. His whole MO is because he's lived such an accursed life, watching his wife die, always on the brink of starvation, losing his family. He believes there are no gods, and when it's proven wrong that there are gods, he's given a chance to kill one with this Necro Sword. As soon as he does, he's set on his path for killing gods, and as he hunts them and kills them, Thor eventually is summoned to a world where there are no gods, sees that all the gods have been killed, and in that realizes this is Gorr the God Butcher, so he goes on hunting him. Now, I don't want to get too ahead into that story because that's most likely the one that's playing out. We also know there's going to be a couple of other elements like the Jane Foster cancer storyline and some others as well. Now, real important to bring up here, as excited as I am about Gorr the God Butcher, Thor Love and Thunder, I love Taika Waititi. He's one of my favorite directors in the game right now, not just in the Marvel game, but the game in general. And if you've seen any of his other films, I mean, he's impeccable. His sense of humor, there's no other directors like him. He's just making movies that are so unique. But where is Beta Ray Bill? I don't want to be that fan who gets upset and is like, hey man, I don't care about your Gorr the God Butcher. I want Beta Ray Bill. And I am glad that Marvel went ahead and scrapped using him just for a second in Thor Ragnarok and not doing him justice. We know the CGI exists. We know that they know that character's around the corner, and we know they know us, the fans, really want it. So I'm hoping that somehow, alongside all these crazy characters, including Gorr the God Butcher, that are going to show up in Thor Love and Thunder, and all these characters that need story time, like Jane Foster, Thor, The Return of Korg, also Valkyrie, that we get an introduction of Beta Ray Bill. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below, how hyped you are for this film, how well you think that Christian Bale is going to do as a villain. I'm glad he's playing something not even resembling Batman at all. I definitely don't want to see that. Let me know all your reaction down below, and quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Still giving away a PlayStation 5, now 900,000 subscribers, Disney Plus subscriptions weekly while the shows are live. We'll resume that next week when What If goes live. Also, we'll start up watch parties here at the channel again, and of course, announce some brand new MCU-related giveaways with the release of What If. If you want to be entered to win, all you have to do, hit that subscribe button, then leave a comment down below. Because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, the same way we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with notifications turned on, and as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name is Michael Roman. You can find me over on Twitch and Instagram at IamFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, Amazon, iTunes, wherever you find your original music under All Fires. Thanks so much for checking out the channel, guys, and stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.